All right, and we are live and I really don't want to turn this off because it sounds so good.
Ah, yeah, it's kind of long. I mean, it's a live concert, so we're stretching out.
All right, I'll turn it off for now, but I'll just save it. My guest is Oscar Hernandez, wonderful musician, pianist, person. You know, he's just he's cool, man.
Thank you, Kathy. It's my pleasure. As you know, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
So, wow. So we were just talking a little beforehand, and about various things. First of all, I think, well, we'll talk about it again. I definitely want to talk about it again. What's happening now, with the record, the new release. So let's talk about it now, and then let's talk about it again.
Sure.
So tell us.
Well, I mean, for people who know who I am and what I do, I have two bands. I'm from New York, born and raised, and I'm living in LA, but I have one foot in New York as always. And my main band from New York is called Spanish Harlem Orchestra. We've been doing it for 20 years with Spanish Harlem Orchestra. We started, actually, the first recording was recorded in the year 2000, but we didn't officially make the band until 2002.
Yeah.
So since that time, we've traveled the world. We've won 3 Grammys, got nominated 6 times, just got nominated again. So
Wow.
the new record, which is titled Imágenes Latinas, Latino images, for lack of a better translation, uh, has just got nominated for a Grammy, and I'll be there on February 5th with everybody else to see what happens. Looking forward to that.
That's fun.
Yeah,
That's
no doubt
really
about it.
fun.
And
Yeah.
actually, it's gonna be real, fun for me because my some of my musicians are flying in from New York. I have my 2 sons who are in New York are flying in. My 2 daughters here are here in LA. I got them tickets, so it's going to be a family affair and just enjoying the evening and the festivities and let the chips fall where they may as to what happens. But I'm just honored to be nominated. And to be honest with you, Kathy, I was kind of worried that we wouldn't get nominated because we've won before, but we haven't got nominated sometimes. And I'm going like, this record deserves a nomination, and there's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I would never say it deserves to win, although I'm biased and I do feel
Of
that way.
course. Yeah.
But it certainly deserves to be nominated, and the fact that it got nominated is, that was so cool for me, and I'm
Yeah.
happy with that.
I'm I'm gonna just ask you straight out, why do you say it deserves a nomination? Because you feel like it's just great playing, great arranging, songs,
Yeah,
everything.
there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
First of all, I've been blessed to, the genre that I'm in, I've been part of for 50 years. So I'm really fierce about protecting the legacy and the history of what that genre is because I've been blessed to be, to play with all these great people that I've gotten to play. And it's given me a lifetime of music, it's given me a career, and it's given me an opportunity to do it on my own terms,
Yeah.
representing people that are no longer here. I got to play with Tito Puente. I got to play with Machito. I got to play with Celia. I got to Celia Cruz. I got to play with Ray Barretto. On and on and on. I could keep mentioning people who are no longer here that I got to play with. People who are, if you're knowledgeable about this music, you know what I'm talking about and who I'm talking about. So for me to be able to represent that legacy, it means a lot. And I know how much passion and love and integrity I put into the recordings, and there's no doubt. I mean, it might not be your cup of tea, his cup of tea, her cup of tea, but uh, the feedback that I get from people in the know of this music go, oh my God, it sounds incredible. And when we perform live, people say this music is amazing. So I know how good it sounds.
Yeah.
I have a wherewithal to know. I can say it's great music. Whether it's her cup of tea, their cup of tea, whatever. I don't really care, but I know how much passion. And when I leave the studio, because I don't really go back and listen to it, I know it's kick ass. I just know it, and nobody has to tell me, how good it is. I
Yeah.
know how good it is.
Yeah.
So. it's equally as good as any other recording of our type of music that you're going to find out there. No doubt about it in my mind.
Yeah. I
But
think it's probably all the stronger because you're a live performing band as well as recording. It's not just a recording band. You know, you're getting the real stuff on tape, so to speak, you know.
no doubt, and the fact that the musicians have a vested interest, like I do, they're all pretty clear on the mission in terms of keeping this music on the pedestal that we feel it merits to be on, and representing a legacy of what of which we all been part of. And I only work with musicians who understand the concept. I mean, because you have great musicians who come with their own agenda, and it's not my agenda; it's our agenda as a group. And with Spanish Harlem Orchestra, 13 musicians, it's not dependent on one guy. Obviously, I'm the leader and I'm the one who puts the concept together, but it's dependent on everybody's input. And when you go see the band live, everybody's featured.
Yeah.
So you can kind of enjoy the chemistry between the three vocalists up front and the percussion section, the percussion section and the horn section and the rhythm section with the vocalist. There's a lot to enjoy. So it's pretty cool. I'm doing what I love.
Yeah. Um, Rosalinda Abramides
Yeah,
is here.
Rosalinda, what up, girl?
She said, I love your confidence, Oscar. I'm so grateful to you for all that you do for the music that I love so much.
Well, thank you, Rosalinda. She's become a friend of somebody who I recently got to know, and through the passing of our great dear friend and great musician Artie Webb, Rosa was instrumental in making things happen after Artie passed away and before for him. So yeah, so it's nice that I get that kind of feedback across the board, Kathy. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm clear. At this point, I've been doing this a long time, as you're really good at what you do and you have a clear mission in terms of what your music is and what your concept is. And it's no different for me. And the truth is, when you come across people who kind of in this crazy world where we're inundated with so much BS, where people want to trivialize what you do, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm
Yeah.
not having it.
Yeah.
What I mean? Especially when there's people in the industry that want to try to kind of trivialize it for whatever
Yeah.
reason. Uh, I know how good it is. Nobody has to tell me how good it is, and I have enough great people in great positions that know who tell me, "Hey, it sounds amazing." So
Yeah. You
yeah,
know, I feel like in the last few years, maybe since the pandemic, I don't really know, but I feel like, well, I mean, this is not to say that you haven't been working your heart out for many years, but I feel like there's more broad public attention on Latin music, and like what was it, In the Heights? Is that what that movie's called?
yeah, in the Heights, yes.
That movie blew me away. I just I loved everything about it. Everything. Like, I loved the story, the music, the characters, the producing. I loved the fact that it was kind of this healthy, beautiful human story, not like looking at the bad shit that we all know that bad shit happens, but let's like focus on the good shit and the dancers. I mean, and so many Latino great dancers in all shapes and sizes. I mean, I think that was amazing, and I also really loved the movie Chef,
Yeah, okay.
and that music was hot.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
you
it's
know,
nice to know that, that we get to be represented every so often, when things that are put together like that, and it shows the talent that we have, as a group. I'm Latino,
yeah,
so I speak Spanish, and
yeah,
for me, I've delved in all worlds, as you know, because I've worked with a lot of people who, I was Paul Simon's musical director. I'm proud to say, and I worked in other walks of life, but it's nice to know that we have people in positions, and within the Heights, talk about somebody being in a position, getting to work with Lin Manuel Miranda, who's just an amazing, super talent, and he's just this bright star, who's of a person who totally gets it,
Yeah.
totally is clear on his mission, and
Yeah.
putting it out there for the world to see on the pedestal that it merits to, to be on. So, and his success with, with those productions, especially, of course, we all know Hamilton. You
Yeah.
know, hey, that's the most successful, you know, Broadway production in the history of Broadway. Could you imagine that? That's incredible.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So I mean, and it was done by a Latino. You
Yeah.
know. So,
I love it. I really love it because I think, I don't know, I think the Latin culture hasn't been highlighted enough. That's my own opinion over the years. And now, I mean, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous culture for many
you know,
different reasons, but the music is so passionate and beautiful.
you know what, Kathy, and I like to think that we can create a hybrid. Because obviously I'm a jazzer. A lot of us are jazzers. But I'll give you. I have a lot. I have a ton of anecdotes because they're based on real life. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we got called to do the John Coltrane Jazz Festival in High Point, North Carolina, right? And the promoter saying, I don't know, I don't know about having a Latino act, and he was kind of, hemming and hawing. So finally said, okay, let's do it, right? So our booking agent called me, yeah, it's on. And I prepared my own arrangement of Mr. PC,
Okay.
Mr. PC.
Oh.
And we got there, and it's an almost exclusively all black audience. And at the end of the show, we wound up stealing the show. Spanish Harlem Orchestra, the whole audience was on their feet. He comes running backstage, says, "Oh my God, you guys were amazing." So it's basically represents, what we bring to the table and how it affects people for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that, we can get in front of an audience like that. That's not really our audience and go, man, I don't know who these guys are, but
But they're
they're bringing it. Yeah, it's so cool. And I love when those things happen. And it's not the first time it's happened. I can give you a bunch of other occasions where I'm going like, wow. I mean, I remember going to St. Louis and I'm going like, who are we going to perform for in St. Louis? And it was a theater that held like about 1,000 people. And after the fourth song, the whole audience just stood up spontaneously and started giving us a standing ovation. And
wow.
I'm going like, wow, this is
Wow.
amazing. So it's that kind of reaction. Or when we played the Newport Jazz Festival, and one critic wrote, the best thing about the Newport Jazz Festival was the Spanish Harlem Orchestra. I looked at it and went like,
Wow.
how could that be? I mean, so people, come away with those type of, feelings in terms of what they're hearing and what they're experiencing in terms of our music. So it's awesome. And there's no ego for me. I mean, it's just I'm blessed and grateful to be doing what I'm doing and still doing it. Because like I've been doing it a long time and I feel like I deserve to the opportunity to keep doing it on the level that I need to do it. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah. Are you playing in LA anytime soon?
No, we were here last year a couple of times. We were at Segal and
Huh.
we did a Peruvian jazz festival. There's talks of possibilities, but nothing has materialized. So, for me, and I'll put it out there publicly because I was just there Friday. I would love to do Walt Disney Concert Hall.
That would be
I mean,
great.
and we've done the Hollywood Bowl, but not in a bunch of years. So I would love to do the Hollywood Bowl too.
Yeah.
We would kill it. We
Yeah.
would kill it.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see Spanish Harlem Orchestra, and I love LA. Those venues are amazing. For me, I go as a subscriber to those shows when I'm off because I just love. I saw Herbie Hancock. I saw the Chucho Valdez concert, Creación, which was amazing with John Beasley and Hilario Dulang. And on Friday, I saw the Monterey Jazz Festival tour, with Kurt Elling and Dee Dee Bridgewater. So for me, I would love to play in those venues.
Yeah. I would love to see you in the Walt Disney Hall. That would be great.
You know what? I
Yeah.
I would I would relish that so much. And the other thing is, I'm putting out there. because I recently, about 6 months ago, did something at the Arboretum with Michael Feinstein
Oh,
with a full orchestra. I had, I was representing a singer who I produced, and I had the music orchestrated for a full symphony orchestra, and it was hugely successful.
ah,
So I would like to also, I'm planting that idea with Spanish Harlem Orchestra to do orchestral music and maybe do half a show of, orchestra with the band and then see the band on its own without that. So we'll see.
sounds great.
Those are little dreams that I have.
That sounds great. I
Oh,
love
big
it.
dreams.
It's very exciting. um, let's see. Yeah, we have comments, and Priscilla Val, I can't pronounce her name.
Dr.
Val,
Julie.
yes, Val de Julie. Okay, she's here, of course.
Attila. That's my girl. I got my homegirls.
And I have a friend, Taylor Hatch, who is a guitarist at UNT, right? Yeah. And he has great questions always. One thing he would like to know, and by the way, Dan Davila had posted your allmusic.com. You have like 1,300, over 1,300 credits, which is huge. Just saying.
You know
just,
what?
just in case you wanted to know.
You know what? Somebody posted something on Facebook about my discography, and I don't bother to look into that. I don't really care. But when I saw it as a post, I started scrolling down. I went, oh my God. I mean, part of it is just doing it for 50 years, like I
Yeah,
have been. I
yeah,
started when I was 16, playing
yeah.
professionally, in New York. And I tell people, the education that I got in the city of New York, playing with the incredible musicians that I got to play starting at 16, 17, 18, my early 20s, you couldn't pay for at the best university.
No.
Uh,
Oh.
I feel really blessed. But yeah, when I started scrolling down to see what I had done, I was going like, oh, it's amazing. I was just like blown away. I told everybody, check out the discography because it was part of a post and he included the discography. That's what it was.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Taylor has a composition question. Over time, how would you say your writing process has changed? What helps you gain influence to write a compelling piece of music?
Well, I mean, in a way, it's changed a lot. In a way, it hasn't changed much because I look back at my early recordings as an arranger with Ray Barretto, for instance.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I was 25 years old, I owe him a debt of gratitude because he let me spread my wings as a pianist and as an arranger in a great band, and that was a very adventurous time. I was listening to so much music, and I was being influenced by so much music. As a lot of my friends, we had our ear to the ground as to what was happening in the jazz world as well. I was listening to Bill Evans, Chick Corea, McCoy Tyner, Herbie Hancock, going back to Wynton Kelly, Ray Garland as Red Garland as a pianist, Bud Powell. So I think the one thing I could say now, if I don't know if this answer his answers, is it Terry
Taylor.
Taylor?
Yeah.
Answers Taylor's question, but I think the one thing now is I've learned in my older age not to let my mind get in the way.
Hmm.
So basically, I trust my instincts full on,
Yeah.
and I just follow that lead. And it's like, it's like a puzzle. You just keep filling it in, and sometimes you start on this end, you start on that end, sometimes you start on the middle. But now I'm pretty fast. I could sit here and say I'm going to write a composition in an hour or two. I'll be done with writing a composition. So in that sense, I think that's the one good thing I've learned throughout all the years. As far as inspiration, uh, I just, I have enough inspiration from all the stuff I've been listening to for all those years. I don't need to draw on anything new, but yeah, every now and then I'll hear something and I go, wow, I want to do something like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'll make my own version of what that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and, I have we're talking about Spanish Harlem Orchestra, but I have my three quintet records here in LA with my group called Alma Libre, and those are all my compositions. have 10 compositions on each record. So there's 30 compositions of mine right there.
Yeah.
The first one, uh, uh, oh, I can't remember. I can't, the second
Don't
one is
remember.
Love the Moment. The third one is Vision is the art of Latin jazz is the first
Okay. Okay.
one.
Well, yeah, we all know that actually. um, yeah, you know what I love about the process that we do is there's a song, you pick a song for whatever, you're playing with certain people, you have a feeling of what that kind of draws to it. You pick a song, then you have an idea of an arrangement, and then you sit down with the people and play, and then it becomes this huge personality because of the players too. But that whole process is it's such a enjoyable process.
No doubt. And the truth is, when you're playing with great players, as I am fortunate, you know, they even, it's just, they take it to another level.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember early on, speaking of that experience, like just to use Ray Barretto, I was like 24, 25 years old, and I would remember bringing in the first arrangement. And we play it once, and I'm going like, oh, it sounds terrible. In my mind, I'm saying to myself. So we run it again, I'm going like, oh, sounds a little better. We run it again, I'm going like, wow, it sounds good. So it's a matter of sometimes the musicians getting comfortable with the concept of the music and making it more musical. And you take a great player and he could take Mary Had a Little Lamb and make it sound
Yeah.
amazing,
Yeah,
right?
that's so true.
So
Yeah.
so that's the way I feel. I know that it's gonna whatever I'm hearing now on the computer, because I mean everything is done on software now. I compose as opposed to early on when I used to do it all by hand. I use the music software, and I hear it back, which is great because I can automatically tell. I could take it to the next level of how it's going to sound live with and I'm not listening to any drums or percussion. I'm listening to bass, piano, and horns, and sometimes vocals. So with the percussion, it's like, bam, the magic is created. Or with the drums, the magic is created. Especially if you have great players. They just enhance it in such a way, and that's what makes music so beautiful sometimes
Yeah.
when you have that when you can share that experience with other players on that level and create something together, whether it's your piece or somebody else's piece. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm reminded of one of Chick's last records, if not, I don't know if it was the Latin record that
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was that was a gorgeous record, with great, amazing players, and Ruben Blades was on there, right?
yeah. Those guys are all my friends, and you know what? The day I'll tell this little anecdote. So they were all my friends. From Luisito Quintero to Michael Rodriguez to Carlito del Puerto. Those guys, I've gotten to play with them, so I was
Yeah.
so happy.
Yeah.
And talk about being a fan and paying tribute to somebody. Chick Corea was one of my idols.
Yeah.
So when the day he died, as a matter of fact, I turned on my computer, I saw my phone, and I see Michael Rodriguez, a trumpet player,
Yeah.
in that band, says, "There are no words." That's all he said. There are no words. And I said, "What is he talking about?" Because I didn't know a chick had died. Because we didn't get any inkling that he was sick,
No.
right?
No.
Nobody heard nothing that he was not doing well. As far as I know, he was still. And then I find out that I go down and I scroll down that he passed away. I'm going like, what? I was like blown away. I just stood. I was in my living room, like just. I was like catatonic almost. Because here's somebody that I started thinking for 50 years of my life has produced some of the most amazing music, and he was so prolific, in composing and putting so many forms of groups, so many different forms of groups and different projects, and putting himself out there. And I was fortunate I don't know if you know, but I have to I have to tell this anecdote. So, but anyway, that day I was like just so lost that after I got out of my stupor, I said I'm going to write something, and I sat down and I wrote "Chick Forever," which is
Oh,
on
wow.
my third quintet CD. But Chick, I had met his wife at the Grammys, Gail,
Yeah.
and we were talking. We had a nice conversation, and she gave me her email address. And so one day I wrote to her, and I said, "Hey, Gail, I would love for Chick to be a guest on my next record." And she says, "Oh, well, he's on tour in Europe, and he's really super busy, and he's always practicing and touring. That's all he does, But write to him." So I wrote to him, and probably a little over a month later, I get a call from his manager. Because Chick loves the song, he wants to record it.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I said, what? I just said,
Oh my God.
well, I had done an arrangement of you in the night in the music,
Yeah.
Spanish Harlem Orchestra. So if anybody's interested, look it up. Chick Corea is the guest on that. And he wrote to me, says, hey, man, yeah, as a matter of fact, I was deleting emails and I ran into I came up with his email. I'm looking at it. This is about a week ago. I'm looking at my computer. I'm looking at his email back to me saying, hey, Oscar, blah, blah, blah. And I remember him asking me, hey, I put some scent on it. I hope you don't mind, you know? And I went like, what? I mean, there's nothing you could do that I would mind. And, and true to form, what he played was brilliant. What he put on it was brilliant. And uh, so, if we had it here, we
Okay,
could have
now
put it.
I have Chick for Forever actually on Spotify. Should I play that or should I play what your other?
If you want to, you could play some of it, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's play some of it.
yeah, okay, sure.
Okay. cool. Sorry, Mr. Bass Person.
Yeah, so I mean, to have that little experience with Chick was, is a super highlight for me.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see. Uh, a good question Taylor has is, what is one Afro-Cuban, Brazilian slash or whatever Latin? I'm thinking he's thinking record that surprisingly not a lot of people are hip to, in your opinion.
Well, speaking of Chick Corea, there's a record that he recorded very early in his career that was the biggest influence on me as a musician. And it's an album, it's a record that he did with Cal Jader, and it's called Soul Burst.
Oh, Soul Burst.
So
Yeah,
if you happen to find that record, the whole record is amazing, and Chick plays the most amazing piano over Latin rhythms that you can. It just kind of blew my head because I'm saying, wow, somebody could play like that over this percussion. And then he had great percussionists on that record. So Patato was on there, and Mongo Santa Maria. He had a few great players. Uh, so I would say that one, no doubt about it. I mean, you could go to Machido's Kenya, you can go to Tito Puente's top percussion, or there's a lot of there's so many records. I can't
yeah,
even.
yeah. Well, that's cool. I like that. I don't think I'm familiar with Soul Burst, so I'm gonna go check it out.
It's a great record, and just if I mean the whole record is great, but as a pianist,
Yeah,
just Chick's playing an approach, and he must have been about 24, 25 years old there.
yeah,
Uh, I think because it was
yeah.
recorded in 1960, probably 66,
Uh-huh.
something like that.
Yeah,
Or maybe a little after, maybe 68.
yeah,
But his playing was exquisite, exquisite.
yeah,
And unlike anybody else you ever heard at that time,
yeah.
he was basically breaking new barriers with his concept.
It's so outrageously wonderful when somebody really uses who they are and jumps into, a form, but they really they stay um, honest, right, and
True to
committed.
themselves. They stay true to themselves, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's the case here. I mean, you could tell that uh, he was he was really at the forefront at that age of playing like nobody's business. And that right after that, if I'm not mistaken, was the record he did, which the landmark record he did with Roy Haynes and Miroslav Vito's title. Now he sings, now he sobs.
Oh,
That
uh,
record was like breaking barriers. When jazz people heard that record, they went like, "Whoa, who is this?" I mean, as
hmm,
as did I. So I think that
yeah,
was around the same time,
yeah,
except that he adapted those skills to Cal Jada's music, which was amazing.
yeah, yeah. That's really incredible. Um, um, Taylor's asking this, but I think this is an interesting question. He wants to know if you have like new things that you want to work on regarding your artistry. Like now, is this like a new period for you that you're probably always growing and searching and looking?
Well, look, I'll say this about that. I've learned more than anything. I've learned who I am.
Yeah,
So I'm not gonna all of a sudden be something I'm not.
yeah,
So when people ask me, and toward that, to kind of address that question in a certain way, for instance, Spanish Harlem Orchestra, which we have 8 records out, right? It's a new
yeah.
one. We just got nominated for Grammy. People ask me, "Hey, so the new record, what's new?" I go, "Nothing." I'm being kind of, you know, I'm being kind of, comical, but in a way,
It's true.
it's true.
Yeah,
There's nothing new.
it's more.
Well, it's more exactly. So I'm not going to be something I'm not. It's my finger on the pulse of the music of which me and everybody who's on that record have their finger on the pulse and the essence of what the music is. So I could try to do something experimental and say, but it's probably a lot more work and I get myself into a lot of trouble and headaches. Now, the new record has new arrangements, new compositions, new interpretations, maybe a new way to deal with a rhythm or something like that. And yeah, we try to be in the forefront of creating new stuff within what we do.
Yeah.
But if I had to answer that question, it's similar to what I said. I would like to put Spanish Harlem Orchestra in the setting of an orchestral setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see other people doing it, right?
Yeah.
They have a guest with the LA Phil at the
Yeah.
Hollywood Bowl. Well, I feel that could be me.
Yeah.
And we could really highlight the band and highlight what we can do in an orchestral setting as well. So that would be something, would be different for me to do. But as far as my music, I'm just going to keep composing what I feel in my heart and my head, and that's what it
Yeah.
is. I don't think I present. I'm not that. I don't present those challenges to myself. Like I'm going to do something. Maybe if I heard something and I got inspired,
Yeah. Yeah. um. Uh. Is it possible to listen to anything off the new record?
Sure. You want to listen to?
Would I go to YouTube or Spotify or?
Oh, you know what? I don't have Spotify. I don't use Spotify. I use another one. But yeah, you can go to Spotify and put the title of the record, which is Imágenes Latina. Uh, I'll see if I could. Hold on. Uh, yeah, Imágenes, Spanish Harlem Orchestra, Imágenes Latinas.
Okay, hold on. Spanish Harlem Orchestra, and then it is. What is the title?
Imágenes,
How do you
that
spell
means
that?
it's like
Oh,
image,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Imagenes.
Okay, and
Here it goes.
I have it right here. Got it.
As a matter of fact, I'm just sending you. I just texted you the cover.
Oh, good. Oh, you sent me a few things. I just yeah, you sent me a
So
few things yesterday, right? Didn't
yeah,
you?
so let's listen to number two, the title track.
Okay, great. Alrighty. And oh,
Indios, hispanos y negros nos vinieron a formar, razas de todas las sangres y un futuro por lograr. A las entrañas del monstruo, como dijera Martí, venimos para esforzarnos, a trabajar y a vivir. Desde Quisqueya hasta el Plata, de La Pampa hasta La Habana, somos sangre, voz y parte de esta tierra americana. Somos sangre, voz y parte de esta tierra americana. En el país de la nieve o bajo el sol del palmar, el latino en todos lados lucha por su libertad. Latinoamericanos somos del luchar por un futuro mejor. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar, para decirte, mi hermano, busca y encuentra la unidad. Para decirte, mi hermano, busca y encuentra la unidad. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Con razas de muchos colores, del jardín somos tus flores. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Imagen bella y divina, rayita que me ilumina cada día al despertar. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Mírala qué linda viene, qué linda está, no se puede comparar. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Costa Rica, tierra bendita, a ti te quiero cantar y recordar. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Y si te azota la tempestad, después de la tormenta, que el sol ha de brillar. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. A las entrañas del monstruo, como dijera Martí. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Venimos para esforzarnos, a trabajar y a vivir. Esta es mi imagen latina, este es mi nuevo cantar. Con la del barrio sonando, vacas cante guarachando. Rico y sabroso para bailar, este es mi nuevo cantar. Esta es mi imagen latina de una raza que es divina. Venezuela echa pa'lante, que tu tiempo llegará. Este es mi nuevo cantar. Y a nuestros hermanos cubanos nuestra solidaridad. Este es mi nuevo cantar. Oye, de La Pampa hasta La Habana, este es mi nuevo cantar. De Buenos Aires al Central Park, este es mi nuevo cantar.
Wow. Woo!
So, you know what, Cathy? Again, I'll say this. I'm biased.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Yes.
you'd have to prove it to me that if anybody else who's nominated has a better track than that on their record. They may have. I'll tell you right now, that shit is ass kicking.
It's gorgeous.
And we record live. And that's Carlos Cascante, who you asked me about.
Yeah.
And he's improvising his butt off.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's it doesn't get better than that as far as our music. That's again, I'm I just love the music. I'm listening to it going like, oh my God, I love that.
Well, I feel like I noticed, I'm always appreciative of space. And um, this music is not does not seem crowded to me. It has this real beautiful space where the players and the singer is they're in their own space, but all together there is space within it. And I was just curious, is that something that separates your band out, your writing from other
No,
groups maybe?
I think that separates the really top-notch bands is and I would interpret when you say space, I would interpret as in a sense musicality.
Okay.
So because musicality is the bottom line for me. You know, you could write notes till till you're
Yeah.
blue in the face, and they have to have a purpose. They have to have a meaning. They have to say something. So for me, I'm clear about what I want to say and how I want to say it. So it's often comes down to how I want to make it musical.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's par for the course for not only our band, other bands that are playing on that level that are good. They have a way of achieving what you're talking about.
Yeah. I I love that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's so clear and clean and beautiful, you know.
and remind me because I do want to play one more track from that record. You know, I don't know if we'll do it later, but
Yeah.
I do want to play one more track from that record. You know, just to give people a different perspective. You know,
Yeah.
and actually maybe even two two different perspectives. That might be another one that I'd
Yeah.
like for people to hear. So
Yeah.
I'm on my way to New York tomorrow actually to work on a musical theater project for a week,
Oh,
musical directing for a week over there. And that guy asked me because there's some kind of Latin music a little bit in it,
yeah.
and asked me about the ballad in Spanish, which is a bolero. We call it a bolero.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, if you want to, I said, he was asking me about the one that he wrote and, the concept. And I said, look, he was asking me, are we cool? I mean, in terms of like the interpretation, and I said, look, I live and breathe that music. So if you want, go listen to this record, listen to this track that I composed for my new record. And if that doesn't convey what you're talking about, then I don't know what does. So, yeah. Again, I'm I'm very, I love that music. I mean, I love all music, I hear you sing I love you. Say, man, Cathy's doing it. You know what I mean? So I love all kind of music, but when it comes to me, it's very personal, and I won't hear this, right? Like I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah.
We did it, but I'll be somewhere and somebody will play that, and I'll go, oh, it's like I'm being bathed again with, the velvet glove of music.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Priscilla said ISBL is proud to have you as their musical director. International Society of Black Latinos.
Yeah, and those are my friends, and they're really great people, Priscilla and Juanita, uh, who are instrumental in making their point about, you know, the political point of view of who we are as Latinos,
Hmm.
especially black Latinos who often get misinterpreted and mischaracterized. Uh, but yeah, proud to be part of that organization.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever told you this. I just want to show you something. Um, did I ever show you this or talk about this? This was my mother-in-law.
Wow.
She was a bolero singer. That's where my Garcia comes from. Gus Garcia was my first husband, and his mother was Adelina, who was known as the Angel of Mexico, and his father was Gonzalo Curiel, who was super famous musical composer in Mexico, and yeah, isn't she
Beautiful.
beautiful?
Gorgeous. And I would, I could conjure up her voice in my head. Although I never heard her singing something, gorgeous and beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, she was really, yeah, she had that kind of voice, like, yeah, really beautiful bolero. Yeah. So, but yeah, I wanted to share that with you for some reason. Um,
Funny, I wish I could see the chats. I don't know how to act. I don't know how to.
well, you'd have to go like on your phone on Facebook and see, turn down the sound, and then you could see the chats.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
but just turn down the sound.
Oh,
Taylor left because he has a lab, but he was asking, kind of questions. I mean, he asks a million questions. Some of them are really deep, and some of them I just, I'm just not on that page. So you'll see a lot of that, and you'll see some of Priscilla now. But what did I want to ask you? Yeah, I wanted to ask you. I mean, you're prolific on recordings, and I wanted to just kind of check in to ask you, what do you think about the business nowadays? Do you see anything happening that's kind of on the positive side of making money from recordings, or are recordings just something that you have to do? You just have to do it, and they're to get you attention for playing.
yeah. Unfortunately, look, uh, you know, I have to do the recordings with Spanish Harlem Orchestra, and I do it for my quintet, and it's a labor of love. I pay for them
Yeah,
out of my own pocket,
yeah,
and I do make some money back. When we perform with Spanish Harlem Orchestra, people are there and they want to purchase the CDs, and I'm signing them,
cool.
and I have made money. If I'm lucky, I make my money back. All
Yeah,
right, which is what par for the course of what we've been doing. But we really don't make money, and we got to get. I'm trying to get people to understand that all I'm asking when I put out a record is to purchase one CD.
yeah,
If I get 1,000 people to purchase a CD, that's like 20 grand. That more or less pays for the record.
yeah,
And is asking 1,000 people to purchase your record a lot in the world scheme of things? No.
no,
But people want everything for free. They said, well, I get it on Spotify, I get it on iTunes. And really, I get it, but it's not fair to the musicians.
yeah,
So I'm asking for people to understand, what we're about and to support the ecosystem of music in terms of supporting an artist that you believe in, that you care about, and purchase their CD.
yeah,
Even if you want to give it away as a gift or whatever, but that's the way we can make the money back.
yeah,
Other than that, I mean, it would be sad for me to say I can't put out another record because I can't afford, and I pay my musicians and I use the best studios.
yeah,
I mean, I don't compromise on anything. I use top-notch people. Uh, so I don't compromise the integrity of my music in no shape or form. And I always say thank God for the intelligent, discerning people that go beyond the bullshit that they're fed this commercial world to seek out really good music.
yeah,
It's like people who want to seek out good food instead of going to McDonald's or going to
yeah,
Burger King or wherever they want to go to, or KFC. You want good food. That's not where you're going to find it. Yeah, it serves a purpose, but so try to educate yourself as to who the people are that are making good music and what constitutes that, and support. Support. Not asking you to donate in thousands of dollars, but purchase a CD. Go
yeah,
see a live event. Go out there and enjoy a live concert, man. And we need that. That's the lifeblood of who we are. That's the lifeblood of what we do.
yeah,
Uh, and within that, with Spanish Harlem Orchestra, we play a lot of performing arts centers all over the world. Right now, we just got signed to do Seoul Korea Jazz Festival. We're doing Java Jazz. So we're doing some really, good events that come to us during the course of the year.
yeah,
And that's where I would make my money. Musicians get paid, and I could make some money from that.
yeah,
But I'm not getting rich by no means, no, no stretch of the imagination. But I'm okay, and as long as I keep been being given that opportunity, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen. I tell people it doesn't happen by magic. You have to make a commitment to do something. You know what I mean? So it's about us as people supporting things that we know that are important to support.
Yeah.
Because if you don't support them, you're not gonna have them. That's just the
Yeah.
way it is,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I wish there was more ways to say that, more ways to say that, so that people would hear that again and again, you know.
Well, I mean, sometimes people say, "Well, I'm not buying it. I can get it for free."
Yeah.
That's not the point. That really is not the point.
Right.
And there's times that yeah, you should get stuff for free, and if you can get it for free, great. But there's times you need to make a commitment as to what you believe in and what's important to you, and stuff that that is a positive to this world. And music
Yeah.
is a perfect example of that, man. It's like supporting the arts. When I think about in my particular case, Kathy, I grew up very poor. I grew up in the South Bronx, family of 11. Music, college was never mentioned in my house. Subsequently went to college later on and I got my degree. But, uh, you know, I really believe in a sense that music saved my life in a sense. So for people to not support the youth through arts, that's a travesty, and it's really
Yeah.
sad. And I think that um, if given the opportunity, you know, like they say, it takes a village, and
Yeah.
we need to understand that as a people, as a community, as a society, as a state, as a country, as a world. As you keep expanding, the important things of life, and you know, and what we need to support.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that's so true. Um, you just made me think of a trumpet player who teaches in East LA, South LA, somewhere. And I I reached out to him last year. He was on the show actually. There's a group called Artists for the Homeless, and he was one of the founding members. And so I wanted. He does really good work. He's like head of the music department in a high school. And I thought I would like to just go over there and give a workshop, or you know. So I'm going to do that this year. He was too busy with tests and all that stuff at the end of the year, but I want to do that. I really believe in that too. I mean, who doesn't really? It's just you got to support the arts. You got to support the arts. I was just talking about that with somebody about Europe, how good Europe is with supporting the arts. It just makes sense. That's one thing. I love America. I'm really glad I live here. Really glad. But that part of it is,
Well, could you imagine that people say that jazz is dead or jazz is dying? I mean,
yeah,
how? I don't even understand that.
I
But
don't
I
either.
mean,
I don't either.
well, it's the greatest. It's one of the greatest art forms that was ever invented. So, it's been nothing but a positive life force in this world that we live in
Yeah,
since it's been around, in terms of every aspect of life.
yeah,
So, um, if it's dying, like they say, well, we're our own, we're all guilty of it, and not me, but I'm saying we as a country, we as a society are guilty of letting that, you know, manifest itself in that way instead of saying, come out and check this out. Check how talented these people are, how brilliant they are, and and that's fine that we have the commercial bullshit music. I mean, but give us the alternative as well. You know.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and also when people say jazz is dying, no, it's not. It's like changing, and that's what it is. Jazz is change. It's soaking in, and going through morphing, and I mean, it's definitely not dying. Have you heard of that group here called Jazz is Dead? Have you heard of that? There's a group of guys. They started a label, and they actually successfully create these events, like good size events, with people like Javan and saw Milton Nascimento, and I mean, downtown in a big theater with lots of people coming, and yeah, it's really an interesting. Two guys, I think, kind of created it, but so it's kind of bringing it into the the younger people. It's funny.
Yeah,
Jazz is dead. Jazz what is it? Muerta?
jazz está muerto, muerto.
Yes, yes. They
But the
use,
thing is, like, for instance, I went to see on Friday the Monterey Jazz Festival tour
yeah,
at the Disney Council Hall, right?
right.
Now, that night I got to see Dee Dee Bridgewater, Kurt Elling, Lakeisha Benjamin, Christian Sands, who I wasn't hip to on piano. Wow, he is pretty. But anyway, and they played some standards, but they were completely arranged in a completely different way, and it was a beautiful, brand new experience that evening of listening to stuff that I'd heard before, done in a different way by great players, bringing their own vision to that music in the moment. So how could you say jazz is dead when this is being created on this night at such a high level? I mean, I loved it. I walked away and said, wow, that was awesome. That was all. Dee Dee did speaking of tribute to Chick, she did her own version, her own tribute to Chick with Spain.
Uh,
And brand new arrangement. And Kurt Elling did a song, a brand new arrangement of a Joe Zawinul song, a remark you made. So I was like, wow, and that's a song I love.
yeah, me too.
I'll see it with a brand new, dress on, in
Yeah,
terms of this tailor-made new dress, and to hear it, sung that way and performed that way, and so for people to say jazz is dying or dead, they're sadly mistaken, and they're very short-sighted, and I
yeah,
don't know, I can't understand it.
yeah. I can't either. Speaking of you and the night and the music and Chick, I saw Chick. It was a while ago. I saw him at the Bowl, and it was that song he came out with, and he started it out in an unusual time. And at first, I couldn't quite tell what was going on, and then when it fell into obviousness, I was so blown away. I don't know if you had anything to do with that one, but oh my God.
I would have loved to have heard it, and maybe there was a connection somehow. I don't know,
Yeah.
but no, I would have loved to have heard that version of it. With me, it was Spanish Harlem Orchestra's version, my arrangement, and I said, "Well, just take out my piano," because I had put my piano. He said, "I'm recording it in my house, in his studio," and I said, "Okay, well, here's the file. Just take out the piano and put yours in." And what came back was like, I got such a kick. I remember we were on tour somewhere when I got it, and I assembled my whole band in the lobby of the hotel, saying, "Check this out." But they had all recorded it, and we were all everybody had this huge smile, going like, "Wow, unbelievable! Chick Corea is playing with us."
What and is that on a record you said, or?
Yeah, it's on the Spanish Harlem Orchestra. This is the one record that we didn't put a title on. I always kick
Oh,
myself in the butt. It's a white record, and it's our fifth recording. It's just called Spanish Harlem Orchestra. And I'm sure on Spotify you can put it Spanish
I
Harlem
I
Orchestra.
see it. Yeah, I see it. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know. Should we listen or should we? I mean, we have lots of time, so
sure. Well, you know what? I don't have that much time. I got to tell you, because I got an early flight tomorrow. I got so much to prepare. But yeah, let's hear a little bit so we could get a taste
all
of
right,
Chick.
all right. We'll hear a little.
You and the night and the music fill me with flaming desire, turning my being completely on fire. the night and the music through me, but will we be one? After the night and the music are done, until the pale light of dawning and daylight, our hearts will be throbbing guitars. Morning may come without warning and take away the stars. If we must live for the moment, love till the moment is through. After the night and the music die, will I have you?
Oh, wow. Okay, so all right, because I think you're kind of wanting to, kind of end a little early. By the way, Roland would like to know, can he buy your CDs on your website?
Yeah, SpanishHarlemOrchestra.com. There's a store page. You can buy them there, and if you can list OscarHernandezMusic.com as well. SpanishHarlemOrchestra.com is one, and Oscar Hernandez Music is two. So my CDs could be purchased there.
And
But yeah, so you got to hear Chick and Joe Lovano on that one. Joe Lovano's a guest as well on tenor.
yeah,
Uh,
oh my
I
God.
mean, you could hear it's Chick, right? So,
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
so I got the biggest kick out of that one. His manager called me and says, "Yeah, Chick wants to record the song." I was like, "What? Wait a minute, hold on. Let me pick myself off the floor."
But it was great. It was an incredible combination. It was perfect, you know? Wow. That is really, really something. Um, it's great. By the way, Priscilla was mentioning, that there's no real great Latin dance club here in LA, like in New York, and I'm sure she would love it because she loves to dance. I know there's some dance places, but
Well, the people that everybody goes to is the Granada, which is okay. I mean, I have my issues. I can't really go there and hang because the DJ plays terrible music sometimes. The DJs that they have, not all the time.
yeah.
They don't really get it, and they play the music way too loud. I don't want to be competing with the DJ to try to have a
That
conversation.
place in Hollywood on Vine that's been there a long time. It's a restaurant. Do you know the place I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
Floridita.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Floridita's another place. Yeah, I would recommend people to go there. I think Monday nights is a big night for music, but they have Saturdays, Fridays, and Saturdays as well. It's
Yeah.
a small place,
Yeah.
but you can get good music, good food and good music there.
And there's
There are
dancing
a few
too, right? A little
places.
bit of dancing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can dance there. Yeah, people. Yeah, there's a big dance uh, audience there for sure.
Yeah. She also asked, like, what do we think are there great jazz clubs here in LA? Um, what do you feel like? Are you aware of any or?
Yeah, there's a few places. I mean, obviously the one that comes to mind, is like Catalina's Jazz,
Yeah.
and I get mixed reviews. I like playing there because they have a great piano and it's a
Yeah.
lot of space
Yeah.
and they get good sound. Uh, so I like performing there, and I think that people need to support a place like Catalina's Jazz. I
Yeah.
mean, when I think of New York, Spanish Harlem Orchestra would play at the Jazz Standard in New York, and which no longer exists because of the pandemic,
Yeah.
by the way. But the Jazz Standard was freaking awesome. We
Yeah.
would play Thursday through Sunday there. We also played at the Blue Note. Haven't played at the Blue Note in quite a few years, and I don't understand why. Because the last time we did play at the Blue Note, it was great. I never forget the manager coming up to me. We had a whole run Tuesday through Sunday, and on Sunday he says, "Hey man, I just want to tell you, I've been the manager here for 4 years, and this is the most fun I've ever had." You know.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
And then,
Well, I mean, it's just the way it is.
yeah, yeah, it is.
Some
Um,
places, like the Blue Whale used to exist here before. I loved the Blue Whale when it was
it's great,
here.
right?
Yeah, and
I
there's a
told
few
you,
places.
I told you, and Priscilla, I don't know if you got wind of this yet, because I haven't totally 100% put it out, but I'm booking Kulak's Woodshed, which is just a little tiny funky place, but it's cool. And Dori Amarillo, the guitarist and engineer, he's here, and he's actually starting the music on February 2nd with a kind of a Brazilian thing.
Well, you should get Priscilla's email address because she's a good person to have. And
Yeah, I think I have you on email, right,
I'll
Priscilla?
give you her information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
she's a good person to have to promote that place because that place is worth promoting.
yeah, Dory said he wanted me to tell you the beautiful piano you played on the Mike Stoller song is going to Kulak's
Oh,
with him, and he said you can bring your orchestra.
well, I don't know if Spanish Harlem Orchestra won't fit there, but I'll be there with my quintet for sure.
Um, yeah, so that's really
And Dory, just tell him, hey, great to say hi to you. And we had that one session, and it was a pleasure, brother. I've heard nothing but really great things, and look forward to us connecting again some way, man. So that'll be a nice connection to have. I love the piano.
he's good. He recently this year he got a Steinway.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah,
Good for him.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So, but
We should play one of the videos I sent you, I think.
okay. Let me go look.
I want people to see. These are two videos that I did during the pandemic to let everybody know that I'm not letting no pandemic stop me. So they were done long distance from here, LA, New York. Half of the musicians were here in New York,
Yeah.
here in LA, half were in New York. Uh, and I think we should play both of them because they both
Okay.
have different things to offer. Start off with Ritmo Pa' Ti, maybe?
Let's see. Yeah. Say that again. I want to be able to say that.
Ritmo para ti.
Ritmopati.
There you go. You
What does
got
that
it.
mean? What does it mean?
Rhythm for you.
Oh,
Ritmo is
okay.
rhythm, and para ti is for you. T.
As you can see, even though I was married to Gus Garcia, I didn't really learn a lot of Spanish.
This is thick, huh?
Here we go. it's mixed by and mastered by Jimmy. That's cool.
Yeah, Jimmy, he's super talented, you know.
He is super talented. What a great drummer, huh?
Yeah, great. It's nice to have people like that on your side, you know.
I know. Do you have to leave early?
No, we could do another half hour. I'm good. You know, let's
Okay.
go to two.
Yeah. I can. I mean, I can play the other one right away, or we can talk a little and then play it, whatever you want.
Well, I mean, any questions that you want to ask? Anybody?
No, but
Okay.
I feel like I can't copy it. I was gonna. Oh yeah, here. I think I can copy this. I'd like to copy the. Let's see, featuring. Yeah, featuring who on that. It's nice to share the names, you know. And I am doing that right now. Uh, I don't know.
Well, people they could you know search for that on YouTube. It's there, and they could find out there on their own if they want. You know,
Yeah.
I won't worry about it.
So what this this particular video was it just to make a video or was it part of something or
Just to make a video, just basically when the pandemic started, you know, I was like sitting in my house going, "What can I do? What can I do?" You know,
yeah.
and I decided to say, "Well, I'm going to record one of my songs and have my friends, because these guys are all my friends, record their part, you know, and video themselves, and we put it all together. You know, Jimmy put it all together. Me and Jimmy put it all together, and uh, and it was kind of a statement saying there's a whole statement on the video as to you know COVID-19, and my response to COVID-19 was to be able to keep music alive and well through uh, you know doing something like this and showing you know that we could still be creative.
Yeah. I was just looking for your statement. Where is it?
You know what? It's not on the
The video.
yeah, it's on the end of the video, I thought, but maybe.
Um yeah, I don't see it. Let's see. I'm just looking. No, I don't really see it. I see the credits.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe it was I put it in an email and I mailed it out as an email. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
on the next video. Let's go with the next video. The
Okay.
next video is basically using my three vocalists with Spanish Harlem Orchestra and another composition of mine, and also integrating it. Not the band. It doesn't have the band. It's just something that I decided to do as a video, like the same thing with this. And
Yeah.
I solicited the services of the great vibraphonist Joe Locke,
Oh, yeah, he's so
master
good.
master vibraphonist, and is a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And this is called Romance Divino. But you could tell, you know, enjoy the input of the vocalists as singers, and I
Okay.
arranged the music for them, you know, in three-part harmony.
Oh, okay, cool.
Shaburuwa, baruiu, biru shaburuwa, baruiu, shaburuwa, baruiu, biru shaburuwa, baruiu, shabarabarabao. Cuando pienso en ti, esa primera vez que
message.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Play. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget, those were some dark times we were going through, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Whoops. And there's you playing on something. Um, Sakala Bayar.
Bacalao bailar.
That looks like fun too. Um, gosh, hey, I was curious. I was curious
So as a
that.
vocalist, let me ask you before you ask me, what's your impression of hearing, the three vocalists like that? I mean, could you relate to it? Because I know it's different music for you.
Yeah, yeah, it is different music. They sounded really beautiful together. Their intonation, I don't know if you fixed intonation, but their
Oh,
intonation
we didn't fix
is so
nothing. It
great.
was all done live like that.
Yeah, I think you know, I've heard live performances and I've never thought anything but spot on. And yeah, it's it's definitely a style, isn't it? You wrote the did you write the song?
Yeah, I wrote the song and I wrote then I had it kind of in my mind because I have three vocalists who can do it and they're
Yeah,
they're all really super capable of learning, it in whenever I want to go to harmony for the song.
it's
Uh,
beautiful.
I think it's a cool thing to do. And that music had what we used to call trio music. It used to be three vocalists with two guitars. And back in the day, and that was very typical. Mexico had their own version of that, but Puerto Rico had it, and that's the music our parents used to listen to when we were kids.
It's kind of
So,
sweet or something, you know. It has
yeah,
this sweetness to it. What are the words about?
well, this is a romantic song. It's a love song, you know,
Okay.
like you're what you brought to my life, and blah blah blah, and you're the one I want to be with, and so it's
Yeah.
it's a love song.
Yeah.
Uh, Divine Romance is called. Romance Divino.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, there was a sweetness about it, about the singing, you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and the fact that we didn't use the horns as we normally do. Although I've had it arranged, it's on the new record, by the way, with the horns.
Oh.
So you could hear this version with the Spanish Harlem Orchestra.
Oh, cool.
So
Cool.
yeah, I wanted to feature it this way, but this was the first incarnation of that.
Yeah. Priscilla said she remembers hearing Trio Los Panchos in her home.
Yeah, Trio Los Panchos, Los Condes, Trio Los Tres Haces. That was all the music that our parents used to listen to, and used to sing to each other, and make love to and party to. So, yeah, it was very much part of what we heard, and I want to kind of, make that part of my music still to this day because I think it's an important part of the music to keep alive.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what I haven't asked you.
Well, I mean, obviously, we covered both groups. As you saw, the first video you saw was a small group. It was my
Oh,
representative of my
I'm
quintet
sorry.
music.
I do know what I wanted to ask you. I had this in the back of my mind. So you were the musical conductor for Paul Simon. I wanted to ask you about that because that's kind of a step away from all of this. And how did that occur? And how long did you do that? And did you enjoy that?
Uh, yes, I mean, Paul, it's kind of a funny story. So I had produced a record for a friend of mine as a labor of love. I
Yeah.
mean, I got paid, but very little money. It was just a labor of love. A friend of mine who was a dancer in New York, he was the foremost salsa mambo dance teacher in the world.
Oh,
In New York City, his name is Eddie Torres. And he used to dance with Tito Puente, but Tito Puente was always traveling. So he wanted to be able to uh, perform with a band. He decided to make a band in New York and have like a Sunday event called Mambo Magic every Sunday from 2 to 6 at a club. And based on that, I was in the band. He wanted to make a recording. So I made the record, we made the record, discussed the songs that he wanted. And the record sold like 10 copies. It was something that he did, again, out of his own pocket. Sold 10 copies, but it got a great review in the New York Times.
okay.
So Paul Simon saw the review and told somebody, get me this record. He listened to it. The name of the record was called Dance City, which is an original composition I wrote for the record. And he asked, he loved the record. He said, who is this guy? Me, the producer. He was asking people in the business because he was doing the Cape Man. This was around the year 1995. And lo and behold, he calls me. He says, hey, I'm Paul Simon, and I said, who? Yeah? What do you want? No, so he invited me to his house to go see what he was working on, and I jumped, head first into that association with Paul. He was a great
Yeah.
person to work with. I have nothing but great things to say about Paul. I mean,
Was that kind of a, like,
Cape Man was
his Africa thing was
no,
so African? Was this
no,
like a very,
no, African Skies. He's done 3 projects. African Skies, which is the
yeah,
music of Lady Smith, Black Mambazo.
yeah.
Did the Brazilian, his venture, I forgot now. And then he did the Cape Man. I was the musical director of the Cape Man.
Oh, okay.
That was his venture onto Broadway
Yeah,
with a musical theater production.
yeah,
I tell people that I figuratively earned my doctorate's degree in musical theater working on that show. And I worked with him for 3 years on it till it finally came to fruition. It got killed. The music never got killed. The music was incredible.
yeah. Oh, really?
But yeah, it's a long story. I don't want to rehash it, but he said some things he shouldn't have said. Paul is very honest and he's very forthright.
Yeah,
Basically, he kind of said that the music in general on Broadway sucks.
yeah,
And that's a very hard thing to say. People don't want to hear that. And they said, "Yeah, when is your show opening?" All right.
yeah,
And it got sabotaged in a way. I mean, that's not to say it didn't have its issues. It had its problems. But
yeah,
anyway, for me, it was great to work on it. And when we finally went to Broadway, he told me, "Get your people. You ready? I want you to be musical director." I was the musical director. And I got my people like he wanted me to. And the music was amazing. Uh, I co-produced a record called Paul Simon Sings the Songs of the Cape Band uh, with him, and got paid really good money, and it was a great experience for me. It was heartbreaking in a way because we went through a lot of heartache with that show. It's too long. It's too long a show too long a story to get involved in here, but needless to say, there was a lot of heartbreak in that show, and he made some mistakes along the way. That he'll be the first to admit. But he always had a lot of integrity. He always wanted to do things first class, and he paid for them as well he could because he's, Paul Simon and has that kind of money. So I had nothing but, awesome things. And to this day, we're still friends. I love him, and he's just an amazing,
How
iconic.
long did the show last on Broadway?
He lasted like 3 months. And
Why?
it got killed. The review, the night of the opening got killed. Bet Brantley killed it. He had an agenda. There's
Oh,
no doubt he had an agenda.
yeah,
The critic had an agenda because they didn't really like people. Broadway doesn't like people coming from other worlds to their turf and thinking that, they're hot shit.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I'm not saying, things that people don't know. I'll
Yeah.
be honest. And I feel in my heart of hearts that it was sabotage because the show was absolutely beautiful. It was beautiful in many ways, despite whatever issues it may have had. And it wasn't your stereotypical Broadway show. That was part of the other issue. People want stereotypical, when you take something and you make it completely different, then, uh, anyway. But it was a great experience, and I'll forever treasure, the time spent, working on it and working with him for sure.
Must have been just great. I I'm gonna go check out the music for that. It must have been wonderful. Speaking of music, I know you wanted to do another, at least one from the record. Um,
Sure, let's play my composition called Mambo 2001. This features the band in an instrumental light, you know, features the band highlighting the musicians of the band, and no singers on this one. It's the one instrumental track on the record, and it's my composition. And I originally composed it for my trumpet player on his record, and it sounded so good that I said, "Man, I got to record it on my own record." So his record preceded mine, although the instrumentation was different, but the concept and the song is still the same, and different performances, different soloists. But this is my version of an instrumental composition on my new recording that was just nominated for a Grammy and uh, titled Imágenes Latinas.
okay. Wow. Wow. That is a burning song.
Yeah, so it's kind of a nice way to feature the band because I mean the singers get featured a lot, and you know they leave the stage and we feature the band in that light, you know, with something like that, and it's pretty cool. And that's part of what we do with you know with all our shows, feature the entire band in some shape or form. Everybody gets featured.
Yeah, it's really great. Um, Fantastic. This record, I'm going to go buy one um,
You
after
have
I
to
get off.
buy, I'll send it to you. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm going to support. I'm going to support. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure you'll make this much money from the people watching. Um, I have to ask about Celia Cruz. I really don't know too much about Celia, so would you mind telling a few things about your relationship?
Sure. This is kind of a funny story too. Anecdotes that come to mind. So the first time I got called to play with Celia, I was 21 years old, and they had called me to go to Toronto with a friend of mine, a bass player, to join a band that was going to accompany her because the guys they had couldn't really cut it. I was 21,
Uh-huh.
right? This is in the 70, early 70s. And I get to JFK, and of course, I mean, I knew Celia Cruz, but I had never played with her. And I get to JFK, and of course, you know, I was familiar with her music, and you know who she was, and you know what, you know how impactful she was, and what a star she was for our people and our genre. Uh, Sorry, my
Okay. Who's that?
so uh, so I get to JFK, and I see her from afar, and Celia must have been about 51. I was 21.
Yeah.
So I see her from afar and I go like, oh wow, Celia looks old. I said to myself, right? Anyway, so I go over and I introduce myself, and she was the most beautiful, generous, loving, gracious superstar that you could meet. She was like telling me in English, in Spanish, "Mijo, mucho gusto," you know, we're like, "Welcome, thank you for thank you for coming," blah 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 blah. Anyway, so we get to Toronto, we rehearse, right? And that night, the band's on stage. She's ready to come out. I hadn't seen her since the rehearsal. They introduce her, Celia Cruz, and she comes out like with this amazing outfit, these heels with the wig. I said, wow, Celia looks amazing. And, you know, we're playing, I'm just going like, incredible. And she proceeded to be this tornado of energy and love and artistry in terms of her feeling and her sense of timing, her voice, which was like at the top of its game at that point. And I just watched. It was an indelible experience because she just completely took over the show and magnetized everybody, not only musicians, but the audience was like, you know, like, oh my God. So and then after that, I got to play with her quite often, and she would, you know, even I wouldn't see her for a year. She would say, "Oscarito." She called me Oscarito, which is a diminutive of Oscar in Spanish.
Uh-huh.
Oscarito, ¿cómo estás? She would hug me, and we would, for instance, I'll give you another story. We would be on tour in Europe, right, with her, and they say, "Hey guys, the bus leaves at 7 a.m. Down, you got to be down at this." And at 7 o'clock, we'd be straggling our luggage. We got on the bus, and her and her husband, who was her manager and her, would be at the first seat, dressed up to the max. Good morning. They were ready to be on the bus. First seats, first ones there. Uh, Her sense of professionalism,
Uh,
she was just magical in every way. And I got to perform with her quite a few times, and I have amazing memories. And she's one of the reasons that I'm, want to keep this music alive and well, and
yeah.
on the pedestal it merits to be. People
Yeah.
like that who are no longer here, they need to be represented.
Yeah.
So, and I got to
Thank
record
you.
with her, on different records. So she was just amazing.
Thank you for those stories. That's really nice. I'm glad I have those stories now to make it more real, to make her more real to myself. And yeah, I want to thank you for being on. It was so much fun. I feel like I have a powerhouse. It's riding through my body right now. It's like woo woo woo. It's
Well,
great.
we have a lot in common, and I want to take this time to publicly thank you for what you do,
Oh,
because your noontime hangs are amazing. I mean, I often see them, and I don't have time to, like, I said, damn, I want to hang, I want to hang, I want to hang, and I'm busy in my own world trying to create stuff, but you do such a valuable thing, keeping the music alive and well, and featuring so many great people. I'm honored to be part of it, honored to be your friend, and look forward to what's the name of the place?
Kulak's Woodshed.
Kulak's Woodshed. Looking forward to that, and hopefully we can, keep me informed, and get me to go one day. I mean,
Okay.
I'm here, so I'd be happy to go. When there's somebody that you think I'm interested in going, email them, say, Oscar, this would be a good one. I'm happy to go and pay and see everybody, whoever's there.
Okay.
So, but thank you, Cathy, man. Love you. Lots of love and respect, and admiration for you. And
Thank
I'm here, if you ever need me.
Okay, thank you, Oscar. Thank you.
Oh,
Have a safe trip.
and to everybody, man, keep supporting the arts and keep supporting music. We need you. All right. God bless.
We do need you. Bye. And I just wanted to mention for those of you living in LA, this coming Sunday, the 29th, I'm performing at my favorite home venue, the G Spot. And if you want to come, it's a great band in the evening. Bob Bowman, who's this really incredible bass player, he used to live here, and he moved to Montana a while back. So he's coming into town. And Larry Kuntz on guitar, Gary Fukushima on piano, and Kendall Kay on drums, with guest artists coming and sitting in probably. And we're just going to have a good time, hang out. So I hope you come. Just go on my website. You'll also see some information about Kulak's Wood Shack on my website under the events. And I have a listing of who's booked so far. It's just going to keep getting more and more. It's a new venue. It's really cool. So come out and hear live music. Okay? We'll see you. The rest of this week actually is archives because I'm producing a Japanese singer coming into town, her record, and I couldn't do everything. I can't believe I can't do everything, but I can't. So I have archives the rest of this week. Next week, though, let's see. Next week, I have, speaking of incredible Latin players, Joey De Leon, who's a amazing percussionist. I worked last week with him at the Urban Press with Mitchell Long and Edwin Livingston and Mon David. What a fun band. We're actually going to do it again in February, late February. And then Tuesday, January 31st, a wonderful musician I came across, Hub Hildenbrand. And Tuesday, actually, I have a radio spot on the Abe Pearlstein show. And then Wednesday, a wonderful character and great singer, kind of bluesy, jazzy Mary Bogue. So that's next week. Anyway, have a great week. I'll see you soon, I hope. Bye.